Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Indie Zone. My name is Kathy. We have been following the Idaho4 defamation case styled as Scofield versus Guillard for quite some time. You'll recall that this case focused on a University of Idaho professor, Scofield, brought a claim for defamation of character against Defendant Guillard. There were two counts. The first alleged that the defendant made public statements that she was involved, in fact, ordered the crimes that occurred at 1122 King Road when 4 University of Idaho students were unalived back on November 13th, 2022. Second count claimed that she was defamed when the defendant made public statements that she did so in order to quiet, to cover up, in other words, an alleged affair that she was having with one of the students. The defendant is an online content creator, tarot card reader, and also psychic. This lawsuit had lots of twists and turns along the way in the more than 3 years that it proceeded in federal court until the end of February, when the federal trial proceeded before Judge Petricchio, and the jury on the 27th of February returned a verdict that's been called historic, one of the largest verdicts in a defamation case in Idaho history. That jury verdict was $10 million. $7.5 million of it was punitive damages, $2.5 million compensatory damages. The case was not deemed over yet. That didn't happen until March 5th. That was the date that the final judgment was entered, where the court wrote, "Judgment is hereby entered in favor of Plaintiff Rebecca Scofield and against Defendant Ashley Guillard for all claims contained in plaintiff's first amended complaint. Defendant shall pay plaintiff $2.5 million in compensatory damages and $7.5 million in punitive damages." Signed by U.S. Magistrate Judge Raymond E. Petricchio. Even though the case was deemed closed on March 5th with the entry of the final judgment, there have been certain post-judgment matters at issue. One was any notification that Ms. Guillard has filed a notice of appeal. You'll recall that we had advised you that shortly before the trial, she filed a motion for permission to submit an interlocutory appeal. That means an appeal before the case is closed to the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeal. Judge Petricchio denied that, therefore the case went to trial as it did. Well, under the federal rules of civil procedure, a party does not have an unlimited amount of time to file a notice of appeal. And if the deadline is missed, it's pretty much game over, unless very unusual circumstances can be shown, good cause to show why that deadline was blown to file a notice of appeal. Ms. Guillard has 30 days from the date of that final judgment to file the notice of appeal, and it would be filed in the district court where the case progressed all these years, not in the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeal. And a look at the docket today, and it is March 25th, 2026. We are now 20 days from the date that that final judgment was entered. There is no notice of appeal as of yet. There still is time, but each day that goes by gets closer and closer to that 30-day window where this notice of appeal would need to be filed. The other post-judgment action relates to the plaintiff filing on March 19th her motion for attorney's fees. There were a number of documents, including a bill of costs, because she wants to be reimbursed not just her fees, but her costs as well. And these numbers are in the 6 figures. The judge cannot go ahead and rule on this motion for attorney's fees as of yet, because as due process requires, the defendant, Ms. Guillard, has a right to be heard. She has until, according to the docket, April 9th to file any response opposing this motion for attorney's fees. We're going to continue to monitor this situation for these two issues. Number one, any notice of appeal, and number two, the response to this motion for attorney's fees. And if and when any further developments arise, we will, of course, notify you. Thank you for joining us here today.